It's beautiful. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said in a famous clip that by definition, God did not want human beings to understand why bad things happen to them, because otherwise human beings would accept it and not fight it. Once, if they would understand why it happens, they would totally live with it. But you're saying that for the Jewish people to appreciate freedom, we had to go through the experience of the bondage of Egypt. Mm-hmm. There's one thing I want to conclude with, and that is Moses requested God, show me your glory. He wanted to see God. And God responds to him, man cannot see God and live. And in many ways, our relationship with God is through listening. We say, Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel. And the Kli Yakar, he was the rabbi of Prague in the 16th century, he writes, the reason Jews close their eyes, cover their eyes during the Shema prayer, which is the most important prayer, is because our ability to see could contradict our internal sight of the heart. And if we want to listen to the sight of our heart, sometimes we have to close our eyes. Sometimes we have to temporarily blind ourselves from looking out in order to be able to listen to the voice of God. Moses couldn't see God, but he heard God calling out to him. So in a way, the way we connect with the divine is through listening and not through seeing, until this very day in our tradition. And according to some opinions, the reason we make the blessing, the reason if a blind person wants to make a blessing, the one who gives sight to the blind, is permitted, just like you said, because the blind person is aided by all the people who have sight. And the people who have sight are able to guide a blind person and as you said, that a blind person by definition, if he has a right support, will not experience isolation because he needs or she needs to be surrounded and be loved and be taken care of. Justice, it was a great honor to interview you. And my final question to you, if you would be able to see, what is something you would want to see?
I would love to know what people look like. I would love to know what the sky looks like, what a sunrise looks like, or what a sunset looks like. See, because if you've never seen before, these are foreign concepts that you can't ever understand or appreciate. I'd love to have a visual imagination, but that's something you'll never have. And what's interesting is that big question of, is it better to have never have vision or to lose your vision? And I think the jury is still out, because if you've never had vision, you don't understand and appreciate the world that you live in, because it's all basis of comparison. What is blue? If you've ever seen blue, how can you understand or appreciate conceptually what it is? But conversely, what if you could see it and then no longer could see it? Is it more painful to no longer be able to be a part of the world that you once knew, but you still have those memories and that understanding of how someone looks or what the world is like? It's a difficult conception.
And thank you for telling me in advance to ask all the, the non-PC correct
But I think it's a difficult
questions.
thing, and I think at the end of the day, I think that for me personally, I live in my own world, and I'm able to appreciate the world in which I live, because I think the blessing I have is the ability to understand and appreciate the warmth and the energy of people. I can feel people. I can relate to people. I can understand people based off of their energy. They don't have to say anything, and I can still tell what they're like just by their energy, because you have that ability, because of the fact that you can't see them, to feel them. And I think at the end of the day, once you've adapted and understand that this is the world that you live and you don't know anything different, you're able to appreciate it for what it is. That's not to say that, who knows, if something were to change or something were to develop, how would you come to know or appreciate the new world that you would live in? But at the end of the day, I think I can honestly say that I'm okay. I live well. I love the life that I have. I love the people that I get to be with. I love the interactions I get to have. I love the energy I get to feel. And I love the warmth I get to notice every single day. And I think in the end, for me, I've come to realize that even though tomorrow might be challenging or difficult, and even though I might get frustrated or upset or sad, I think what I've come to realize is things usually have a way of working out okay.
Justice, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. May God bless you.
Thanks. Any questions?
This is very dramatic. I can never tell if people have questions.
People are absorbing. Here's some Sprite.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Any questions? The more personal, the better.
Well, first, thank you for that. I knew this would be good, but I didn't know it would be this good. So, Rabbi, you really undersold it.
It all goes downhill from here.
One question I'd love to hear is, what's the kindest thing that someone's ever done for you?
That's an amazing question. I get it every day. It's just kindness constantly. That's all I get is kindness. People helping you cross the street, people grabbing onto your arm. I will say that in Israel during the war, I just love Israel. And Israel during the war, the funny thing is because it went on for like 12 days. So they kept telling me, look, you got to take it seriously. You can't be too far from the shelter. You have to be respectful of the circumstance or situation. But I kind of, as you can tell, I get a little rebellious and just kind of do my thing. And what's so great about Israel is the reason you could do that is because when the siren would go off, it didn't matter. You were going to the shelter whether you wanted to because people just tackle you and take you to the shelter. Like no one asks you, like people on the street that you don't know, they don't ask you, can we take you to the shelter? Your feet don't touch the ground as they take you to the shelter. It's just to have that sense that you can totally trust people and rely on people and count on people and know that they're always going to have your back, especially in Israel, is just an extraordinary feeling. But I just think that for me, it's just something that you encounter every single day. Imagine how nice it is when people walk up to you and just say, how can I help you? Where do you need to go? What can I do for you? Or they just, I like it. See, I'm a person who likes it when people touch you. You know what I mean? I like to be close to people. So I like it when someone comes up and grabs your arm and just asks if they can assist you. I just think that's a really cool thing. So I get that kindness every day. I don't want to give too long an answer, but I think it's important. The reason that the pandemic has been so challenging for people who are blind is because of the social distancing. That's made it unbearable for so many of us. And the challenge that is presented is, blind people can't even use, it's very difficult. We can't use Zoom. Like imagine going through this and you can't use Zoom, right? Zoom's not an option, it's all visual. So imagine not having the ability to use Zoom. And imagine what this is like, to just be basically on your phone and isolated from other people. And I think that of all the challenges that Hashem has chosen, this has been the worst. And I would say that the reason this has been the hardest is because this is even harder than my time at Mount Sinai. When I was at Mount Sinai for 10 weeks, writhing in pain, that was not nearly as difficult as the lockdowns that COVID required, that people did, because the social isolation was so pronounced and so painful. It wasn't a pain that you can understand. It wasn't just, oh, this is difficult. It had a physical pain to it, a physical pain. And I will tell you that for blind people, when you take people away from them, when you take community away from them, when you take those things away from them, you literally take life in its essence away from them. It's not like, oh, this is hard, this is inconvenient. You have taken life away from us because we need people in order for us to simply survive. And so when you ask your question, the reason I dovetail it to Corona is because when people are too concerned to come near you or approach you or just come to you and touch you and do the things that they used to do, it makes it really almost unbearable for us to survive and for us to live. So my prayer is that we move forward, and my prayer is that over time we will not continue to be isolated from each other. We will not work from home. We will not do everything on Zoom. But we will crave each other, and we'll crave togetherness, and we'll crave community, and realize that we have to be together, and that supersedes everything. Other questions?
Moshe?
My question, I thought it was really interesting how the disability advocacy was part of the Abraham Accords. I mean, that's something that I never heard about or knew about. Is there anything else you could tell us about that, or any other sorts of advocacy you were part of? They're part of the Abraham Accords that I guess most people wouldn't know about?
That's a wonderful question. So you know what? You're going to see some amazing... I got to tell you something. I realize how tough the world is right now. And I realize it's hard to be optimistic. And I realize it's hard to get excited. But people should get excited about this. This is a big deal. And this is exciting. And this is something people don't realize what's happening in the Middle East. Who would ever think that if you're looking for optimism, if you're looking for idealism, if you're looking for relationships, if you're looking for a new world, that you would actually look to the Middle East? Like, who would think that? But it's happening. It's happening in a really big way. The Abraham Accords opened the door, and it has just taken the region to an entirely new platitude. And it's just the excitement that exists because of the Abraham Accords it's exhilarating. It is just exhilarating. I mean, people are excited. They are energized. They are enthused about it. Relationships are being created. Friendships are being developed. I will just simply tell you that the opportunity I've had to work on this, the disability component has played a very significant component. And the reason was it wasn't thought of, but it's just so personal. It's so personal to people, right? It's personal because it's your kid. It's your children. And when you help someone's children have a better life and create a better world for them, that supersedes everything else.
What are the specifics? Schools?
Let's go through. Okay, so here are the things that are now being developed. In terms of the disability relationships and in terms of the kind of the disability portfolio, this is kind of what you're actually going to start seeing. Number one, you're going to start seeing new educational opportunities. Remember, this is a new thing, right? This is an exciting thing. So you're going to see new schools that I think are going to come online. But it's not just new schools. You're going to have the curriculum for the new schools. You're going to see job placement services being enhanced. The idea that people with all types of disabilities can play a role in the workplace. You're going to see that. You're going to see what I'm excited about too is the athletics. You're going to see running programs that are going to be developed where people with disabilities are going to be out running and participating in the community and doing things they haven't done before. You're going to also be seeing accessible technology, which is, Israel's specialty, right? You're going to be seeing a lot of adaptive technology that's going to be introduced all throughout the region. I mean, in fact, I've been asked to go to a number of other countries to kind of continue the work that we started, because there is so much excitement and so much energy that's kind of there. And if you think about it, based on the Abraham Accords and based on the disability element of the Abraham Accords and where the Abraham Accords is taking us, what is one thing that everyone can understand and appreciate? They all understand struggle. They all understand loss. They all understand hardship. They all understand difficulty. They all understand exclusion. They all understand discrimination. And you put two parents together who have children that have disabilities, their commonality is going to usurp everything, because everyone knows somebody with a disability. Everybody has a friend or a family member that has a disability. It's just the ways of the world. So it's a common unifier that basically has empowered these relationships and taken them to just an extraordinary level, which it's personal. And I will tell you something. Because of the Abraham Accords and because of what was established and because of what has come out of it, you can't turn peace back. Once people know each other and they like each other and they connect with each other and they feel a relationship with each other, you can't stop peace. It just doesn't stop because people like each other. Once you meet someone and you really like them and they like you and you have a friendship and a warmth that it develops between you, you're not going to turn back because you know them and they know you. And I think what you're going to see through the Abraham Accords is the UAE, for all intents and purposes, is an incredible leader in this area. And the UAE is when you look at what the UAE's role in this, the UAE is kind of the hub and spoke for the GCC. And I think what starts in the UAE has already spread into the other GCC countries. And it's just beginning, and it's a new and exciting world that we can all get ready for.
Justice, I'll conclude the night and say that Helen Keller famously said, what's worse than having no vision, no sight, is someone who has sight but has no vision. What a vision you have. It was such an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your vision with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You could ask after. Thank you so much.